Okay. All right. I'm going to start things a little different today. Usually I always have music playing, and today I decided not to do that because today what I'm going to be talking about is heavy, and I'm going to be talking about Charlie Kirk. And I have talked about him before on my podcast, but not in this way. I've put clips of him up or used his, debates. I've talked about his killer, things like that. I've talked about the conspiracy theories with Candace Owens and stuff like that. But I haven't gotten deep and talked about him and the actual incident. But I am going again to bring up Candace Owens because she seems to be attached to this and she's made it that way. So when you think of Charlie Kirk, you automatically think of her and her bullshit. And that shouldn't be attached to Charlie Kirk's memory. It infuriates me. It pisses me off so bad because the only person that should be saying something or should feel some type of way and say it loud and bold and has the back to do that would be Erica. And she's not because she knows what the deal is. And with Candace, she thinks I have to speak for Charlie and blah, blah, blah. First of all, bitch, you were fired from Turning Point, okay? And you and Charlie hadn't spoken in years. So who the fuck are you holding a candle for? I mean, I understand that, like, just because she got fired and everything, like there was bad blood between them, but they just didn't speak anymore because she was off her fucking rocker and Charlie wasn't about it. A lot of people flipped their nose at her because she went off the rails and she's like holding this torch for him, but the things she's saying are just so ridiculous. So, what I want to start with first, usually I do the Bible verses at the end. I know some shows I do them in the beginning, but in this particular show, I had the perfect one, and it I randomly just flipped open my Bible and I had this Bible verse highlighted, but it didn't mean anything to me when I highlighted it at the time. And for me to have just flipped this open and this was the first Bible verse I saw, I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy weird that this is the Bible verse for the night and everything that I'm going to put out on this podcast. So I'm going to start with it. It says, I will destroy the images and idols that are in the temple of your gods. I will prepare your grave, for you are vile. Look there on the mountains, the feet of the one who brings good news, who proclaims peace. Celebrate your festivals, Judah, and fulfill your vows. No more will the wicked invade you. They will be completely destroyed. And I think that is perfect when we're going to be talking about Charlie's assassination and Candace Owens, and even having to bring up his piece of shit killer. Now, it is something that hurts me to do because I was a really big fan of Charlie, and I started this whole podcast based on Charlie and for Charlie. So even though my approach to podcasting is vastly different than his, I mean, I curse and I have a different way of speaking. I'm more matter of fact and more like go fuck yourself type shit. But I can't think of the word right now. The what's it called? The rationalization is the same. We're not stupid and we don't believe everything that we fucking see. So what I'm gonna get into today is there was a podcast, I believe his name is Sean Parker, out with 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 Charlie Kirk's head of security. Now I'm going to be playing, I can't play them in order because I didn't save them in order. I didn't even see them in order. I saw them at all different points and then I searched for them and then it got all crazy. So I'm just going to play what I play and then we'll talk about it and then we'll play some more. And there's actually there's actually, because I also want to play Brandon Tatum too, because he says something very significant and I want to play what he says. But he also has clips of the security guard in his video. So you're going to hear the guy talking, and I might play a video and you might hear the same exact thing as you heard in the. I'm going to try to avoid that the best I can. You know how I'm going to avoid that? I am going to just play the security guard stuff first and then play Brandon Tatum stuff last. So here's the first one.
You know, there's been a lot of rumors going around about there was no autopsy. Was there an autopsy? There was, and I can speak to that. Personally, I can speak to that. One, for those people saying it, do a FOIA. Do a FOIA to the medical examiner's office to Utah County. Get off your lazy ass and do a FOIA. They may not give you the autopsy information right now, but they'll certainly tell you, yeah, there was an autopsy. That's the first one. The second one was the OR doc. Well, your question earlier about a pulse. We'll get back to that. And so they ended up working him in the room, and they ended up taking him to the OR because they got a pulse. They did get a pulse? They did get a pulse. But Charlie was a healthy man. He was very cognizant of his health, and he was a strong guy.
Now, if you recall, Candace has said, oh, Charlie didn't have an autopsy. He was shot with a 30-06, blah, blah, blah. Well, there. You just got proven that there was an autopsy. And I actually have a more thorough video on that to back that up. So I'm going to keep playing a couple of these. So here we go.
Hold on. How long had it been since the shot to the hospital? I have no idea, but that is a jugular shot. You can be dead. The central nervous system, you got a strong heart, right? And that's what the OR doc told me. Okay. He said that's what it was. And holy shit. Yeah. And so I have no way of, I'm not a doctor. I just know what he told me, and so we go to that. And I'm sorry, what was your question again? We were talking about the autopsy. Oh, the autopsy. And so once they came down and said he didn't make it, and he talked about, he said if he'd have been shot in the OR, I wouldn't have been able to save him. And I was like, he's just kind of confirming things that I already knew. And so, and so I don't know how long, I don't know what the timeline was, but I want to say, I can't remember who it was, but I knew, I was like, we're not going to turn this into some JFK.
Okay, and then that would have been when he started talking about the autopsy. I'm going to play you the Brandon Tatum one.
What else am I going to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, I've got this area. Jeez. Have you been in contact? Who was that? That was the chief of police for the UVU police department. We've called him. He's never called us back. Holy sh! And not a shield.
When the shot was taken, what did you see? What did you hear?
I heard the gunfire. And then, I don't know if you heard this, but I heard that bullet slap him. And so,
I didn't know
so
that.
you hear two sounds actually. And so I jumped down on top of Charlie to cover him because where we're at, it's concealment at best. And so I initially dug down on top of him.
Which is first aid, by the way.
Was on him almost face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding.
First aid.
Just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him up close. It was still coming out enough that it squirted through my fingers and I could taste it on my lips.
What do you mean there was no blood?
And so I was like, man, this is a bad wound. And so I was just, I don't know at that time. I know when you look at the clock, I was on him within 5 seconds and had my hands in him.
Let me tell you something. That's first aid. All this bull about nobody gave him first aid.
Charlie's instructions are actually insane. Number one, leave me with no help or first aid.
They gave him
I don't know if he's not administered any first aid. I have the close-up videos of that. Very strange to me because that's what they're supposed to be experts in. No gauze taken up, nothing, not even securing the wound as they carried him to the hospital. And I do not accept, by the way, that it was because things were crazy. He literally pays you millions of dollars of years to know what to do, security team.
Not true.
Because I carry it right here. That's why you carry it on you.
His first aid kit was on him.
You got to have it there. So, but then I remember pulling back away and thinking, damn, this is bad. It's coming out. And then so we're doing pressure control there, and it's a carotid artery, so you can't put a tourniquet on it, obviously. And then in my head, I'm like, pack pressure pray, man. These are what you can do for that wound. But then, so I'm on top. And so we got up, I think it was like 15, 16 seconds from the time the shot happened to the time we were picking him up, and hit 15 to 16 seconds. That's what it was, yeah. And so,
which is also first thing, getting him to the car.
And this is horrible, but that's fast to get an initial assessment, plug a hole, pick him up, move him. Yeah. And so it's just like, dang. And it's some horrible realities of it too. That, like, I told the guys this, and I haven't.
As he starts to cry. And in that video, you hear Candace talking shit like always. Oh, he didn't get first aid. There was no gauze. There was this. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Why are you talking like you were fucking there and knew what happened? You lied. You sat there on your podcast and told your viewers that nobody gave Charlie first aid. And this guy, head of security, was the first person on top of him with his fucking thumbs in the hole in Charlie's neck to the point where he had his blood on his lips and could taste it from fucking plugging this wound and packing it with as much gauze as he could possibly find. And you're sitting there making shit up on your fucking show. Shut the fuck up. How is that helping Charlie? That you're lying about people he cared about, that he was around. He trusted his life with these people. Is Charlie just that stupid that he didn't know who he had around him? Is that what you're insinuating? That Charlie was ignorant to all the people he had around him and he didn't have good people around him? Charlie was stupid at that fact? No. I guarantee you, if somebody were to ask you that question, you would have some bullshit gaslighting fucking answer for it. You can't say how great Charlie was, how smart Charlie was, and all this stuff, and then talk shit when something bad happens. Talk shit about every single person that he held dear and near to him. When you weren't there, you don't know what happened. It's bullshit. And this isn't even the worst of it, okay? This isn't even the worst of it. I was going to play all this guy's clips, but I'm actually going to get to the nitty-gritty, and I'm going to play the clips that Candace talks shit and says some more stupid shit, and you can go back through my podcast, and I believe the one was Hitman, and I'm not sure if there was another one. I think it might have just been the Hitman episode, but I'm not sure. But I know that one I talked about her for a fact. You could go back and listen to the claims I said in that episode about what she was saying and what her 13 fucking conspiracies were. And now you're going to hear a whole brand new one. I've laid out all her conspiracies on my show already. Oh, for starters, just keep this in the back of your mind. So when I play these videos, this is in the back of your mind. First, it was the FBI, something to do with it. The Trump administration, something to do with it. Then it was Benjamin Netanyahu. Then it was Jewish donors. Then it was an army plane that flew really low when Charlie Kirk was shot. Then it was, this other plane flew from Texas and back to from Utah to Texas, where really, really fast for no reason. And then it was that. Then she went on CNN or whatever, and I believe I played that, where she doesn't read the indictment, and I read the indictment for you. And she talks about, there was no messages. Discord said there were no messages. There weren't Discord messages. There were text messages. I didn't read the indictment. Well, maybe you should read the fucking indictment before you start drumming up fucking conspiracy theories, you fucking idiot. And then she's like, yeah, okay, Tyler did it, but he wasn't the only one involved. So then she admits he did it, but then it's a conspiracy. So he's like a patsy then. So I get into that as well. So you just heard 20 fucking theories, and this is all coming from one person. This isn't coming from like 30 different podcasters with all different theories of how Charlie died. This is coming from one fucking person. And wait till I want to know if you hear it when she reveals her source. She doesn't give the source's name, but she reveals who her source is. And you're going to be like, what the fuck? And if you don't hear it, I will gladly say it again for you. Hopefully I saved that video. I think I did. But I will gladly play that for you. But I want to play the Brandon Tatum ones because this is important. Because Candace says, oh, he wasn't shot with a 30-aught. Oh, no. And he didn't have an autopsy. And there was no exit wound. There wasn't an exit wound. And I have to search through one of the videos. He explains how the bullet entered him, hit his spine, went down, and like went up, and then it imploded in his chest. He explains it better than I just did, but I have to try to find that video.
All right, let's get to this clip real quick because I got some. Matter of fact, before we start this, can I prove something to you guys real quick? I'm gonna need my computer. I want to prove something to you guys. Everybody that you've seen, Valhalla or whatever his name is, I used to like the guy. He made a thing about Kennedy. He exposed him. I was like, oh, this guy's a veteran or whatever. I like everybody that's online right now that have told you it's impossible for somebody to get a shot with a 30-06 and live. It'll blow his head off and it'll do all this. I want you to take two things in consideration. One is that it's fair to put that in perspective. But the second thing is that why have you not heard of any of them talking about Martin Luther King? Let me find my little clip. We'll put the link in the description section for all of y'all. Let me find the clip real quick. I got it. Martin Luther King was shot with a 30-06. No exit wound. I'll put the clip in for you. This is the evidence. James Earl Ray, he purchased a rifle. Let's go down to the text here. You can see my cursor. Dr. King was killed by a Remington Peters soft point, metal jacketed bullet fired from a high velocity 30-06 rifle. He was shot from about 200 yards away.
Exactly like Charlie.
And I read this already, but the shot apparently went into his chin or somewhere in his jaw. It like went out, came back in, went out, and went into his neck, and no exit. It's almost identical to what happened to Charlie. Shot with a 30-06 from a distance. Injured, did not exit. Why are your favorite people talking about Charlie and acting like it's so mind-blowing to think that it has never in the history of humanity has it ever happened that somebody got shot with a 30-06 and then blow their head off? Well, it happened to another person who was assassinated, Martin Luther King, one of the biggest prominent assassinations to ever exist. And your favorite...
Now, I do want to say that he doesn't like to bash Candace because I believe they know each other and they're somewhat friends. But that's who he's talking about. Because she's literally the only one that I've ever seen say that and been that outspoken about it. And honestly, the only person that matters that says that. Yeah, you could get your random TikToker to say that shit, but nobody's paying attention to them. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. Okay, fuck what you have to say. You're just some fucking nobody, whatever. But Candace has this big platform and she's, has all these fucking listeners and she's saying this. And trust me, I do deep dives every day. Before I do a podcast, I am literally on my phone all day doing research and trying to find any little bit of evidence of anything I can find anywhere, even shit I don't want to hear. I hate listening to Candace. I used to like Candace. I used to be a fan. But then she lost me and she got real weird with the Jew stuff. And I just wasn't about genociding the fucking Jews, and she was defending Hamas and all this. And I was just like, whoa, okay. So I was like, I backed off. But I didn't dislike her or almost hate her until she started this Charlie business, because now that's literally all she talks about. And she's filling all of these people's heads with this bullshit that's just not fucking true. And just like I said, just like Brandon said, what does that say about Charlie that you're dogging all these people around him that he loved and cared about, that he trusted? Are you saying that he was stupid and he was an idiot to trust these people and love these people? I mean, what the fuck? Like, what does that say? Like, look, fucked up shit happens every day. Nobody means to walk out their door and die at the end of somebody else. You got to put the blame where the blame belongs. There is only so much anybody can do to prevent somebody from killing you. Because if somebody wants you dead, there is a way to do it. You just got to be creative and find that fucking opening. And sometimes you just get fucking real lucky. And this kid just happened to get really fucking lucky. And, hold on, let me see what
So
this
looking
one.
at hindsight here through the security footage, I mean, it came out that, the shooter went unnoticed at 11:50 a.m. in the grassy area, 12:02 p.m. near the Lewis Center, and then at 12:23 p.m. when the shot was fired, approximately 142 yards away. What was, Ed, what was your immediate response?
I'll address the shooter in the timeline first. It's like, you know what I want to know? I want to know when he got on the roof, because we're shooters. It's easy because we have a range, and our guys do it as a sense of pride. Even though we know we work on all this other stuff more, the shooting we work on because it's a sense of pride. And so you look at things like that. In that shooting position, 3 meters to the right and 10 meters to the left, there was no shot. And so I want to know when that guy got on.
Let's put the visual of what that looks like on the screen right now.
We took that shot before. We always do. We sit down in the space and we take the shot and send it back to Charlie so that he can see what he's going to see. And that's a routine thing that we do.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's mental preparation.
So here's a visual of what you guys
Correct.
were able to see.
And so here's my question, and hopefully it'll come out in timeline. We've all seen the pictures of the guy when he came on through the staircase. Okay, there's a difference between a guy walking up and getting on a roof and a guy walking up and getting on a roof. And did he run over to a known position? What you're doing there tactically is you're working a loophole. You guys did that on a roof. You bang a hole through one side, and then you step back and you put another hole and you shoot through that hole when that opportunity comes through. This is a big loophole. And so you tell me you just ran up onto a roof, pop yourself down in a position that was in a loophole.
Can you describe that loophole again real quick, just now that we have the visual up so people can see it?
You get up on this Sorensen Center. I mean, not Sorensen Center, Lucy Center. It's behind the Sorensen Center. And so from where we're sitting, where we're standing, we can't see it. One, it's not our area of responsibility, so that's why we're not looking there. First one, we're looking at threats right in front of us. You see, how many threats do you have in front of you right here? 3,000.
3,000.
And so that's what we're looking at.
Okay. So now what I'm going to get into really quick is what bothers me and what I think Candace should be talking about more instead of all her bullshit ass conspiracy theories is how the fuck nobody noticed this kid on the roof. And actually, people did notice this kid on the roof, because before there was, the gag order, there was footage released of people videoing and seeing somebody on the roof that he was on to take that shot. There was a kid that was inside the school who took video. Then there was another person like in the crowd that took a video. And then there was another person somewhere else. There was 3 videos. What bothers me is that nowadays people will see some kind of egregious shit happen And instead of going to get help or calling for help or anything, your instinct is to take your fucking phone out and film it because it's more important for you to get that shot because maybe I'll go viral and make a whole bunch of money off of this fucking video that I take because that's all you fucking people think about. Back in the day, you didn't have to worry about shit like that. It was almost safer to not have cell phones, to not have computers, because when some shit was going on, you ran into a neighbor or you ran to the cops or you ran home and you called 911 and fucking whatever. Now somebody's getting the shit beat out of them in the middle of the street and you're the only person there to help. You, instead of helping, you're taking your fucking your phone out and filming it. What the fuck? What is wrong with you? Now, I can understand you taking your phone out and filming when there's a bunch of other people that jumped in and stopped the fight or stopped, whatever was going on. And you're like, oh, well, fuck, I'm going to film this because what the fuck? Like that's one thing. But when you notice imminent danger and you're the only person that fucking sees it, and you take that moment to decide to pick up your phone and film it, like at least call the cops or go to somebody and say something, then pick up your phone and film it. Don't just do that as your first response. That's not helping anybody. Now, these 3 people, which I'm sure there's probably more, but the gag order happened, so everybody's shit got collected, and you probably can't see any more phone videos because they're using it for court. But none of those kids or adults, because I don't know who was filming, I know one of them was at least a student there. They all knew that he was not supposed to be there when they're filming. Because why would you be filming that if that was just like a normal thing, like, oh, somebody's on the roof? You filmed that because that was abnormal. So none of you went to a school person or the cops that were there or security that was there or anybody or ran up to the front and was like, yo, Charlie, bro, there's a guy on the roof over there. You guys need to check that. None of you thought to do that. That's what Candace should be talking about. That's what pisses me off. That's the one thing where I'm like, that shit doesn't make sense to me. Everything else makes sense to me. That does not make sense to me. That could have been a threat prevented right then and there. Somebody could have stopped that shit before it even started. If somebody ran up, like the people in the crowd that filmed him on the roof, if they would have ran up through the crowd, and if they couldn't get through the crowd, just said, yo, there's a guy on the roof over there, and just started creating attention and getting people's attention, like, look, there's a guy on the roof, and everybody would have started looking, and the security team would have been, because the security team, as he says, I don't know on which video, but they're mixed into the crowd too. Like, he has security by him, but they also have security in the crowd in case somebody gets violent or whatever, fight breaks out and something happens. They're in the crowd. There's police in the crowd as well. Like, you don't see police standing by Charlie because Charlie has his security team, his sound guys, his visual aid guys, he's got all those people. But the cops, they're all in the back and in the mix of the crowd. So if somebody were to have run through the crowd screaming, yo, there's a dude on the roof, go, do you see that? Yo, look, and had his phone out and was videoing and was like, yo, look, there's a guy on the roof, look, it's in my phone. That would have never happened. They would have whisked him right the fuck. Charlie would have been whisked out of there immediately. That kid would have been arrested on site. He would have never went anywhere. And even if he wasn't caught, they would have found him eventually, just like they did anyway, because he would have talked, and that would have been that. And they would have put pictures out of him, and his family would have done the same thing they did when Charlie got shot. They would have been like, that's my son. And they would be like, what the fuck? Like, you tried to kill Charlie Kirk? What the fuck is wrong with you? So this could have been entirely prevented. And the only part I agree with Candace on is that fact. is that it could have been prevented. Yes. Are there more things the security team could have done? Probably, but there was 3,000 people there. There was multiple rooftops. That wasn't the only roof. It wasn't like that was the only rooftop there. There was other rooftops. They're worried about these 3,000 people that are right in front of them. They're thinking if somebody's going to fucking shoot Charlie, it's coming from this crowd. If somebody's going to do something, they're going to jump from the crowd and whatever. They're going to try to get over the gate, whatever. They're not thinking there's going to be a sniper fucking attack. And not for nothing, Charlie wasn't like the president where like the Secret Service would have swiped everything and whatever. Charlie was just a content creator and you know, an influencer. He was a content creator, he was an influencer. He was just a superstar influencer. He was just the best one and the most well-known and the most influential. But he wasn't the fucking president. He didn't have Secret Service fucking detail. He had regular security that anybody could have. Didn't mean that they didn't do their jobs or they didn't do them good. They just weren't expecting what happened. Nobody was, not even Charlie. And that's just the fact. So blaming everybody besides the person who actually pulled the trigger isn't good for anybody. Candace, I'm like ashamed that we have the same fucking name and you spell it exactly like mine. It's fucking sickening. So I'm gonna now play you what she. Hold on. I'm gonna play you what she says. Fuck it.
So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra, and so it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6. Holy shit. Yeah, it's like, why not put that info out? Why not put it out? And then why wouldn't they put that out? And if do me a favor, don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6, and then fragged. And so explanation 101. Yeah. It's like I'm sitting back here when people are saying we bombed him or there's a wound. I'm like, hey, if somebody would, from an official capacity, would just release that. I don't see how that could jeopardize a fair trial for a guy.
So to be clear, the only person that can actually release his autopsy report is Erica, next of kin. That's given to the next of kin. That's like the Utah state policy. If he's suggesting that the feds are blocking her from doing that, I mean, he's in that statement, why not just release it? They could in theory just release it. And yeah, it's not going to jeopardize anything. The reason they're sending you out to do it is because they don't want to be caught lying themselves. The feds have told a ton of lies. That's the problem.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
don't want to add to it. So it's easier to sound a security person and
Yeah.
say, oh, we never said that. He said that. If what he is saying is true, Charlie wasn't shot by a 30-06, which we've been telling you from the beginning.
Yes,
okay?
he
We've been telling you
was.
Charlie was not shot by a 30-06. He was not that damn.
How do you know, Candace? How do you know? If they haven't released the autopsy, how the fuck do you know what he was shot with when you were not fucking there? And they have. We know what gun it was. That's how we know what the bullet is. What are you even talking about? Then how did he die, Candace? How did he die? How did he die? He didn't get shot with her. So what did he get shot with? Did he get shot? I mean, what are we talking about here? Do you even hear yourself? You're a fucking retard. Stop talking. You're talking like you know something. If Erica is the only one who can release the autopsy, that means nobody else has seen this autopsy besides the person that did the autopsy and her and the prosecution and the investigators on the case. That's it. And none of them are fucking telling Candace Owens fucking anything. So what are you talking? She doesn't even give up another alternative. She doesn't say, oh, he wasn't shot with a 30-06 or whatever. He was shot with a shotgun, or he was shot with a Beretta, or it was a fucking machine gun. Like, No, she doesn't say. No, she's the one that was talking about the exploding fucking mic and all that crazy shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Stop talking. Like you know shit you don't know. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
I told you this. I've confirmed this.
You confirmed it, right?
And so you are left to believe that this really was a modern day miracle. He was shot with a smaller weapon, okay? A smaller caliber. Either or.
A smaller caliber weapon would not have put that size hole in his fucking neck. I'm sorry. Did anybody see the actual footage of him getting shot? Cuz I did. I saw it in real time, okay? I by accident saw it actually. And if I would have saw that shot before I found out, my uncle had told me, oh, Charlie Kirk got shot. And I was like, oh my God, are you joking? What the fuck? And I didn't see it at first. And then I was at my daughter's school function and her teacher is in front of the class talking. And I get an alert on my phone and it's on X. So I opened up the link and I had to hurry up and turn the phone down because my phone was up real loud and I wasn't expecting a video to play. And I literally saw Charlie go, yeah, trans people, or, he said the trans community be about the mass shootings. It's the trans community. Yeah. And he put the mic down and then boom. And I was like, what the fuck? And I just saw a river. And I'm not even like being dramatic. Okay. I've never seen somebody shot before in my life. And when I saw it, it didn't matter that I wasn't actually there in person because it was, I think, even more horrifying that I wasn't there in person and that I could have witnessed that after the fact. So that was playing more. So Charlie was dying 1,000 times over and over again because everybody that clicked that link saw that. So that's millions of people saw Charlie Kirk die over and over and over and over. So he didn't just die once, he died for everybody multiple times because of you seeing that video. And he leaned over to the side and a river of blood poured from his neck. I was like, what the fuck? Like literally, I gasped and I was like praying that nobody around me saw that because I should be paying attention to the teacher, but this and what's going on in my kid's school. But this was like a monumental thing that happened. This was history right here. Like our kids are probably going to be learning about this at some point in school. If not our kids, their kids are going to be learning about it in school. And for you to see that in history is like crazy. Your parents or your grandparents saw JFK and your mom or whoever may have saw Martin Luther King, or your great grandparents saw JFK and your grandparents saw Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and whatever. But our generation hasn't seen anything like that. I mean, yeah, we have the assassination attempt on Trump, but he trumped through that. So we were like, hell yeah, cool. It's fucking like he's a soldier. Like, yeah, right. But when that happened, that was like, whoa, this is real, y'all. Like, this is fucking serious. Like, he's fucking dead. They killed his ass. What the fuck? And we had our own Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, JFK, Bobby Kennedy. That was our generation's thing. And that's crazy to have that. You don't ever expect that. So I, not being a gun person, know that no little tiny ass bullet did that to him. That was a big ass bullet that went in his neck. The amount of blood that poured from his fucking neck, that was a big ass hole. That was not no little ass gun. And then what bothers me is she's trying to say, oh, this was like a military operation. Okay, Candace. So if you're saying it's a military operation, what kind of gun do you think the military would use? Because they wouldn't use a small gun to assassinate Charlie. Okay? That doesn't even make sense. That makes no sense at all. They're using sniper rifles. Rifles. Those have big bullets. You're talking about a small bullet. She's talking like somebody was in the crowd and just bucked a shot from a fucking Beretta. Like, or a fucking what the fuck is that gun called? The gun the cops carry. I forget what it's called. But there was nobody in the crowd that you couldn't even have shot him from that far away with a smaller caliber bullet. I don't even know what gun you could have used. That's a rifle shot from 200 yards away. You can't just shoot a normal gun. The bullet probably wouldn't even make it because of gravity. And this is a military thing. Okay. Why was he shot in the neck then? Because I actually had a military guy on video on my podcast tell everybody that you do not get shot in the neck by military people. And I knew that before even listening to that guy say it, because that shit's anybody with common sense knows if you're going to kill somebody and you want them dead, you're not going to shoot them anywhere but their head or their heart. That's just common sense. You go for the neck when you have like a knife. You know what I mean? Like you slit their throat or whatever. You don't fucking, when it comes to a gun, you're not ever pointing your gun at somebody's neck to kill them, because there's a chance you might not kill them. They might lose a lot of blood. You might fuck their spinal cord up and they can't walk anymore or have some kind of damage, but they might not die. There's a chance you could live from a shot like that. In Charlie's instance, no, because his carotid was completely severed, but the jugular vein and everything, his shit was fucked. When you're a military guy, just shoot for the head and the chest. That's your shot. So right there, every military person on the face of the earth knew that that was not a professional hit, because nobody would take a shot like that. And anybody can't, if nobody can agree that Tyler Robinson shot him, everybody agrees that that was not a military person that did it. Everybody knows that that was not a trained professional or trained shooter that shot Charlie Kirk. You may not think Tyler Robinson did it. Okay, you're dumb, but okay. But everybody will jump you and tell you no military personnel, nobody with gun training, real training, would ever make that shot in the neck. Can anybody shoot that 200 yards? Yes. And all military personnel agrees on that as well. And everybody else agrees on that as well. You may not agree on the person that did it, but everybody agrees that anybody that can hold a gun can shoot that shot, and anybody that's trained in shooting would have never shot him in the neck. They would have shot him in the fucking head, or they would have shot him in his heart. And that is something everybody can agree on, except for fucking Candace, because she's a fucking idiot. Ugh, and I gotta play you the rest of this shit.
You get to decide. You get to decide whether salad can do that. You get to decide whether you're accepting the Popeye the Sailor Man narrative and he ate spinach. And then
what does that even mean?
Everything was great and he was strong. You decide. They think you're stupid. They think we're all stupid.
No, you're stupid.
Obviously, this is a conspiracy, okay? It is a conspiracy.
It's not.
Again, going back to the early interviews that a lot of TPUSA people gave, Frank Turek, who was with Charlie on the day that he died, with Charlie in the hospital, and carried Charlie into the waiting SUV, he told Megyn Kelly something different about drones on that day. Take a listen.
In fact, when we were driving into that event, this is the first event I've gone to a college campus with Charlie. He said, Frank, if you can come help me the first couple of days, could you stay an extra day and come with me to the first event? I said, of course. So we're driving in, Megyn, and his team has drones up looking at the crowd from above, and they text him some video. And there's thousands of people there an hour before the start. And I said, Charlie.
Now, I'm going to cut that off because she admits in a video that she did not watch the entire episode of Charlie's bodyguard or security do the podcast. She didn't watch all of it. She only watched some of it. And did I save that? I hope I saved it. Yes, I did. Okay. She admits that she didn't watch the whole thing. He says in one of the episodes that there was a drone up, but he believed it was, I think he said, the visual team's drone that they had up so that they could get visual of the entire crowd and see what was around. It wasn't for security purposes. It was for his show or whatever show he puts his debates on. So they put up a drone. That was it. They weren't allowed to have security's own drones there. They would have had to contact the police, and the police department was supposed to have their own drones there. But the police department didn't do that. They didn't follow through with that. It was actually illegal for Charlie's security team to have drones there. And I want to play this one. This is from the guy that you just heard talking about the drone. Now, this is the other guy. This is not Charlie's security team, but he was with Charlie the day he died. He was in the car with Charlie on the way to the hospital. And this is what he has to say about Candace.
You know, her proponents say, well, she's the only one seeking truth. She's the only one really investigating. She's trying to figure this out. And then, of course, her detractors say, well, this sounds like a conspiracy theory, and she's airing out pre-existing grievances in the name of investigation, and she could be hurting a lot of people in the process. So how should we think about this?
Let me ask you this, Allie. Suppose I were to say that I think Candace Owens is the real killer. And I think the reason she's the real killer is she was upset that Charlie stopped inviting her to the big events. And what she decided to do was have him taken out. So Turning Point USA would not only pay for what they did to her, they would look at her as maybe someone who could succeed Charlie. And then she would be the president. And she's insinuating all sorts of other possibilities in order to prevent her from being found out as the true killer. I would go, Frank, you are crazy. And yeah, I would be crazy to suggest that. It's a possibility, though, isn't it? I mean, it's a possibility, Allie. I mean, anything's possible. But do I have evidence for it? I have zero evidence for it. And I would never want anybody to send Candace Owens death threats because I'm pushing a possibility without evidence. But you know what? That's what Candace Owens has done to others. I'm getting emails saying, you never know what could happen to you. You ought to repent. It's one thing to ask questions. It's another thing to present or to insinuate that someone is guilty because you've put a web of possibilities together without any evidence that says that what you're saying is true. Prosecution is never going to tell the public anything they don't need to tell them. The prosecution's goal is to convict the real killer, not quell conspiracy theories.
And he is 100% right. 100% right. She is full of shit, and you're going to know it when I play the next video because it is so insane how full of shit she is. I don't even know which video to play because it is such a full of shit statements that she's making. It is unbelievable. But here is the best one so far.
I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie, and I'm telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination. On the day of Charlie's assassination, we know the yellow plane took off in the morning, but the blue plane did not take off in the morning. The blue plane, SUBND, did, however, power on. And I want to be very clear as to what I mean when I say that this plane was on. I am saying that it was transponding. Okay, it's transponding at the FBO at Duncan Aviation, a private terminal. So at the very least, they powered up the electronics. At most, they fully powered it on and the engine was running. What we know for certain is that it did not move from the FBO. Did not move. It was just on and transponding. And I want you to recognize, I'm going to make it clear for you what are the times that they were transponding. It's 2 times. I'm going to tell you those times, but first I'm going to have Mark pull this up and he can tell us what it is that we're looking at here and how we were able to find this information about the jet that was just sitting at the FBO.
So it looks like, based on this information that I found, and I had to figure out how to use this website because my mother didn't take enough Tylenol when she was pregnant with me. So I can't get too detailed on it. But essentially, all the flight radar websites only show when the plane is actually in the air. But if the plane is on the ground and transmitting, that data from the ADSB transponder still goes out. So this website, ADSB Exchange, takes that raw data. And so I was able to find it on September 10th. If you look on the very left of the frame, it shows September 10th. And it looks like there's just one data point. But what I did is I zoomed in, and so subtract 7
Okay,
out
this
to get
is
Utah time.
Over and over again in my mind, and it isn't adding up. Another point that I'd like to follow up with, Andrew Colvett, let's stick with you, is that in the hospital on that day, you told me, you were in the hospital, that you were told that there was a credible threat against me and Tucker Carlson. Specifically, you told me that me and Tucker Carlson were on a list and that you were just telling me as a friend that me and Tucker should lay low. And after you told me that, I ended our phone call and I immediately called Tucker Carlson. And I said, hey, terrified, like obviously crying all day, and telling him that he and I have to lay low because there's a credible threat. And it is now really living inside me that you did not tell me who that threat was from. I assumed the feds told you, but I asked you the question, why wouldn't the feds call me directly if there was a threat against my life? No such.
because, Candace, he probably was just saying in general, you better watch out. Because a lot of influencers that found out Charlie Kirk got shot all were like, holy shit. And their people called them and said, look, you need to stop whatever you're doing. Don't go to any college campuses right now. Don't do anything until we figure this out because we don't know who's getting taken out when, because this could be like a thing that's like planned, like Charlie's not the only one type shit. So what was wrong with him giving you a heads up and telling you, look, you better watch out. If this could happen to Charlie, this could happen to you and Tucker too. You took that shit and twisted it and made it into something that it was never meant to be. He wasn't saying that there was a particular person that he knew of by name that was going to kill you and Tucker Carlson. Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. Like, are you really that stupid? There is no way that I am more intelligent than you. And by the looks of it, I guess I am, because I didn't even have to be on the other end of that phone to know that when I saw this podcast and she said that, I was like, is she fucking serious right now? He was probably just saying, yo, watch your back. Like, we never thought Charlie was gonna die. And he did. So maybe you guys need to watch yourselves. Not to mention, Candace, you were spewing a bunch of fucking hateful rhetoric. But then again, the rhetoric you were spitting was on the side of the liberals anyway, because all the liberals were, Palestine and Hamas and whatever. You were on the side of, I hate Jews. So you probably wouldn't have gotten shot for that because all these liberals love that shit. It was all the fucking Dems, want the Jews to fucking be extinguished from the face of the earth. But putting that aside, he was just trying to give you a heads up, telling you, hey, be careful. This could happen to you. This could happen to anybody. Watch your back. That didn't mean he had somebody, Joe Schmo from Seattle's gonna come with a gun and fucking shoot you and Tucker. No, the FBI didn't call Brandon Tatum, and he does Turning Point USA things at college campuses. There's Ben Shapiro, there's Myron, I forget his last name. I only know his first name. I mean, there's a ton of people. Everybody felt like they had a target on their back. I mean, even Jesse Waters from Fox News, all the people at Fox News, actually, right after, during the time of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, somebody put a bomb under the Fox News van's fucking van. They tried to blow up a Fox News van while they were covering the Charlie Kirk assassination. You were not the only fucking person on the list, bitch. You think too highly of your fucking self. You aren't that important. You're fucking dumb. And I hate to say it, it's not godly of me, but if God came in front of me right now and was like, you could have your choice, I will give you back Charlie Kirk, but I have to take Candace. It's either you keep Candace and I keep Charlie Kirk, or you get Charlie Kirk and I keep Candace. I would 100% be like, take Candace. Take her. Bye. See you, bitch. Now, does that mean I want her dead? No, but I'm just saying the shit you say is a problem and it's hurting people. And that's why people from Turning Point have to come out and do Fox News and Megyn Kelly and fucking CNN and all these fucking places, because you won't shut the fuck up and you're saying ridiculous shit. Now you're talking about an Egyptian fucking airplane that landed in Delaware. What the fuck does that have to do with Charlie Kirk? What does that have to do with him? And it's following Erica. What? Oh my God.
Call has come in. How is that possible? How could someone have told you that there was a credible threat and that me and Tucker Carlson should lay low, and yet me and Tucker have since not been notified by any federal agency about those credible threats? Where do those threats come from? Because I gotta tell you, there are a lot of people making videos about me and Tucker Carlson, and none of them are Egyptians, okay? In fact, it's the Israelis. It is Israel that seems deeply upset with me and Tucker Carlson. They are not letting it go. They are making threats on every stage, okay? People that are...
And maybe that's who the fuck he was talking about and why he told you to watch your fucking back, because you were running your mouth, just like I fucking said, because you were being anti-Semitic. And I like Tucker, but he was being anti-Semitic too. Not as much as her, but he was teetering on that fucking line. So is it crazy after he just watched his friend get his head blown the fuck off that he talked to you and said, maybe you should watch your back? Maybe he thought about it and was like, shit, this is real. Like, now people are dying because they don't like what you say. I better call these people and let them know, like, Charlie's dead and this could happen to you. And it's a serious threat to your life. Like, you need to watch your back. This is really serious. You could be next. That didn't mean that he knew who was... She's trying to insinuate that he knew who was gonna shoot them, but he just was not gonna tell anybody who did it, who the threat was. He was just gonna let it ride and hope that they didn't get fucking picked off. Yeah, because that's what they would do. I believe these people who were around Charlie every fucking day, where Charlie preached the word of God every day, these people would have would know who was going to murder you and know you were going to get murdered, and not tell you who the person is that might murder you. They were just going to give you a little heads up, like, oh, watch your back. And then go, I know who's going to kill her. I'm just not going to tell her. I'm just going to tell her to watch your back, though. Like, does that make any sense to you? They didn't even know at that time who shot Charlie. So how the fuck do they know who was going to kill you? Does that make, like, think about that. They didn't know who shot Charlie. They barely even knew what the fuck happened to him. I mean, it happened so fast that it could have been anything. The only reason why we knew it was a shot was because people saw somebody on the roof, and, you know, that's where everybody's head went. And then, you know, you had the videos of people seeing somebody on the roof and they all put it together. And that's the only reason why we knew that. But if nobody saw this guy on the roof and it just happened, it would have been a minute before anybody would have figured out what the fuck actually happened. Did somebody throw something? What was it? You know, what did something blow up? Like, was it a fucking microphone that blew up? Even though that was a bullshit theory too, that she had said. You know, was it that? Like, nobody knew anything. All anybody knew was that Charlie was shot. Nobody knew who did it, where it came from, why, when, how, nothing. But they knew who was gonna kill you and Tucker. They knew the exact person that was supposed to kill you and Tucker. It just wasn't a thing to be like, yo, watch your back. It's inconceivable that he was telling you to watch your back because Charlie died and he was saying, watch your back because there's people after us. Because obviously the left wants to silence us. They don't know how to debate anymore because they're always wrong. They're not logical, and that's it. They can't debate. Because once you say one thing, it breaks everything that they find. Their whole argument falls apart, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck you! You're just see that's what MAGA does. See what MAGA? Yeah, what MAGA does is hit you with logic and tells you, no, that's not what happened. This is actually what happened, and you don't know how to handle it. So then you throw around, oh, this is what MAGA does. And no, it's what you do. You stomp your feet and you throw a fit when the conversation doesn't go your fucking way. And you have no evidence to back up any fucking thing you say. And when you do have evidence, the evidence falls so fucking apart. Once you go in there and you pick it apart, that you see that little thread and you just pull it and their whole web just comes falling fucking down every time. Oh yeah, well I got the evidence right here. And you're like, what, where the fuck did you get this from? This is not even a real news source. What? Yeah, like literally, me and my dad were doing a thing about the Epstein files, and he kept saying I wasn't answering his question when I answered his question like 10 fucking times. And I was like, the Democrats could have released it. They had the floor for 4 years. They never released it. Why didn't they release it? And he's like, you didn't answer my question. Why didn't Trump release it? I said, they tried to release it. The Democrats voted no. Now all of a sudden the Democrats want it. So Trump's releasing it. You didn't answer my question. Yes, I did. The Democrats had the floor for 4 years. Why didn't they release the files? So then I sent him, I think I sent him a Jesse Waters segment, and it bashes everything. It says exactly almost everything I said. And then he comes back to me with a news source, and it's 60 minutes from Australia. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of news source is this? This isn't even from our country. You're getting your news from 60 Minutes Australia? It's a bunch of bullshit. And CBS is fucking fake news. We all know that. And we know right now that Trump's releasing the files. So what? We all know Trump got Epstein arrested. We know that. I've heard recordings of Ghislaine Maxwell saying she liked Trump. She didn't know him, but she liked him. And I've seen video of his lawyer saying, if you got anything on anybody, you need to tell me so I can get you a better deal. What do you know about Trump? And he's like, honestly, I don't know anything about Trump. I can't tell you anything about him. And that was it. But do they want to hear that? No. So, I mean, liberals don't know how to deal with getting shit thrown in their face because they are all about emotion and not about fact and being level-headed and logical and sitting and thinking for a minute and going, does this really make sense? Like guys and girls sports and fucking men and women's bathrooms and shutting down the government for almost a month because you wanted to give illegal aliens free healthcare. So your leverage, as you said yourself, Democrats, we, the American people, were your leverage so that you could get those things. So they could have LGBTQ rights in fucking Zimbabwe or wherever the fuck it was. They wanted $10 billion for that. And the American people had to starve and worry about their health care and the military got fucking no money, and the air traffic controllers didn't get paid, and all kinds of shit was going on, and you didn't give a fuck. And when everybody asked you, well, how come you don't take a pay cut? Why don't you stop getting a paycheck and let the American people have their money? Oh no, we can't do that because we got kids. But the American people don't have kids. They don't have to use their food stamps to feed their kids. They don't need health care to bring their kid to the doctor when they're sick. The fuck? Like, think about that. Doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. So when he's saying, watch your back, it's because liberals are fucking unhinged and they're crazy. And Charlie died. A Fox News van almost got blown up. It's so out of the realm of possibility that maybe you and Tucker might get shot at some point. Honestly, the fuck? Just that shit just like totally pissed me off and totally fucking bothered me. Like, absolutely fucking bothered me. Here's another video of her.
So you have to remember that Charlie landed into Salt Lake City at 9:23. That if he would have recognized the blue Egyptian. And now I'm going to explain to you very carefully why I suspect that it is highly likely that Charlie would have recognized that plane. Okay, tail number SUBND, the blue plane. A pregnant mommy sleuth who was locked into this investigation discovered something that me and my team had missed. I consider.
Did you hear that? Please tell me you heard that. Please tell me you heard that. And I'm gonna even throw my email up because I want you to be able to write me about that. She said a pregnant mommy sleuth sent her this information. This is her fact checking. This is where she's getting this evidence from. A fucking rando who nobody knows or cares about, just somebody that, just like how I have my email up and you can write me. This would be like me taking information from you going, I know how Charlie Kirk did this, and I have no idea who you are, no idea where you come from. You could be from fucking Maine and know nothing about Charlie Kirk, and you could just say some shit. And then I go on my podcast and say, well, I had this person who's like the CIA write me about this plane. Like, first of all, what the fuck does a plane have to do with Charlie Kirk? What does an Egyptian plane? Charlie, they didn't drop a fucking bomb on Charlie. He was shot, which you admit, but you claim it's from a small gun, which there are no small rifles, not that I'm aware of. Rifles have pretty big bullets because they're used to fucking put something down. That's why you use them for hunting and things like that. Shotguns and long guns, because they have bigger bullets. And it's for shooting things far away from you. Smaller guns don't go as far. I mean, they go far, but they're not made. If they were made for you to shoot 200 yards away off a fucking building, then don't you think it would have been easier to carry a little gun as versus a rifle that you have to fucking unpack and unscrew and all that shit, and you got him struggling to walk. You see him limping when he's walking because he has this long gun in his fucking pants and he has to walk. Don't you think if he could have made that shot with a small gun, he would have had a little Beretta in his fucking back pocket? That would have been way easier, way less suspect. He wouldn't have had to ditch the gun because he could have just put it in his pocket. He had to ditch the gun because if people saw him get off the building, or if people saw him walking with putting a gun in his pants or walking weird, he would have drew attention to himself. So he took the gun apart and fucking threw it in the field, wherever the fuck he threw it, and he just blended in with the crowd. Don't you think if he could have made that shot with a little ass pistol, he would have did it? It would have been easier. He could have put it in his back pocket, walked the fuck away, and got rid of the gun later, and nobody would have ever been the wiser. Nobody would have found the gun. Then they would have had a harder time prosecuting. I mean, wouldn't have been that hard because he does admit that he did it, which that's the other thing that foils her whole fucking thing. Tyler admits to killing him. He admitted it to his fucking boyfriend, and he admitted it to his fucking family. So you're saying those people are lying? Why would a mother and a father lie about something like that? Why would you want to do that to your child? Think about that. I have children. If my daughter murdered somebody, I'd be like, what the fuck? I can't protect you now. Now we gotta go. Now I have to turn you in, and I have to try and get you a lawyer and do what I need to protect you in a different way. I can't protect you now. Do you, like, honestly, you think a mother and a father wanted to give up their son? They did it because it was the right thing to do. And they didn't even help pay for his defense. They basically were like, oh, fuck that. You made your bed, sleep in it now. He had a public defender, and the public defender actually got two, big attorneys from California to prosecute the case or to defend the case. And of course, they jumped on it because they're, it's a big case, so their name will get out there, but probably not the way that they want it to, because people are probably going to send a bunch of death threats to them for fucking defending the piece of shit. Because he should just save everybody the trouble and fucking plead guilty. And if he doesn't want to die, say, look, I'll plead guilty to it, save every taxpayer's money, save everybody the fucking wondering and everything. I'll tell you how I did it and when, what, how, and you just don't kill me. And I'll plead guilty, and I'll stand up in court and tell everybody how I did it, when I thought about it, and walk everybody fucking through it, and then be done with the whole fucking thing. If he had some fucking dignity and he wasn't a piece of shit human being, that's what he would do. But instead, he's tight-lipped with the cops and everything. He won't admit to them that he did it, but he admitted it to everybody else. And he did all this for his fucking trans fucking boyfriend, and that motherfucker ratted him out faster than you could fucking say boo. That's who you did this for? Some fucking loyalty you got there, fucking retard. So, here, I'm gonna play the rest of this ridiculous ass shit. Here we go.
Anyway, she sent me a rather urgent email, and I'm obviously protecting her identity for reasons that are clear.
Yeah, like anybody gives a fuck.
That this discovery is due entirely to her. She is the person that, in this regard, went max for Charlie. Email stated in tracking Charlie that she had done an additional 15 hours of research.
Wow. Of nothing.
Tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns with 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped. Okay. And 29 of those instances he was also present. And that's what I was. The flights were majority clustered within 5 states: Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, these are all the instances.
Okay.
In which this plane, 60.
Because you're so much better than the FBI.
This plane crossed to say this includes overseas something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation. Josh Hammer lies, I get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, but they allow the lie to flow. The truth, Turning Point knows it, but they kind of...
Candace, you may be telling the truth. This may be a real thing, but it has nothing to do with fucking Charlie. That's why nobody's saying anything and everybody's ignoring you, because you're pulling all of this shit out of your ass. And maybe it is true. Maybe there is a plane that's flying back and forth, but not for any of the reasons that Charlie is fucking dead right now. Are you fucking retarded? What does a plane have to do with Charlie being shot in the fucking neck by Tyler Robinson, which you admit on CNN yourself that Tyler Robinson shot him. You just say, I think there's more to it than that. You've had 15 fucking different conspiracies. What is wrong? This is now the third fucking plane you've involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination somehow. One was the army plane that flew over exactly when Charlie was shot, which you don't hear in any video, by the way. And a big ass army plane, you would see like a little shadow go over the crowd and everything. You don't see any of that. I've seen the videos of every angle of that fucking day. Okay. Nobody there has ever said anything about an army plane flying extremely low over the fucking school when Charlie Kirk was shot. Nobody says that. And if that's the case, how the fuck did they hear the bullet, Candace? An army plane is fucking loud as shit. It's a big ass, it's like a fucking cargo plane. It's a big ass plane. If you're talking about the same kind of army plane I'm thinking about, it's not a little plane. And I mean, shit, even with a regular aircraft, the fucking 747, sometimes when the planes fly over my house, my fucking house will shake from the plane flying over the house. Or if a plane is low enough, my house will shake. How the fuck did anybody hear the bullet or hear the bullet? Because the security guard said, you heard the bullet? I mean, the gun go off, and then you heard the bullet actually hit his neck. So how the fuck did they hear that with a big ass army plane or military plane that is so low and is flying over the school? Like, please enlighten me. Tell me, somebody spit some logic to me. Tell me how that's possible. Because there's no way a gun is louder than a fucking airplane. It's just, that defies logic right there. That's not even possible. There's no gun on the face of the earth that is louder than an airplane. If an airplane is flying at extremely low, like she says, because this plane had to be obviously really low for her to think that this had something to do with his assassination. So this plane was flying abnormally low. How did anybody hear the gun go off? And there was a kid that was sitting there talking to Charlie as Charlie got shot. How did they hear what they were saying? I heard what Charlie's response was. I heard the kid talk and I heard Charlie's response. How did we hear that if this plane was flying so low at the exact moment that Charlie was shot in the neck? That's logic for you, Candace. Answer that question. That's the first question I want you to answer. Then this is how you got to do it with the liberals. You got to, even though she's a semi-liberal, but you got to break it down into blocks, like little kids, like, you put the block in the thing, it doesn't fit. So you have to turn it over and find the spot where the block actually fits. That's what you got to do. You got to take everything section by section and dissect it. And you have to talk to them like they're fucking retarded. Because if you say everything all at once, they gaslight the fuck out of you, and then they take little bits of what you said and they go, oh, wait, see, you said this, and you're like, wait, what? And then they're like, see, I got you. And you're like, wait, no, nothing. What are you talking about? And then you just get flustered because you're like, what the fuck? No, you got to talk. You have to break shit down in little blocks and start with one question at a time and go, hold on, wait a second. Let's go back to when you said this. Let's start with this first. You will notice every influencer, content creator do that when they're talking to a Democrat, a liberal. Every person will do that. Every person. And I know because I've had to do it with people. And I noticed it and I was like, oh shit, I'm not the only one that does that. You got to go back and go, wait, what did you say? Okay, so let's talk about this first. And then they're like, no, but no, we're not. Now we're not talking about that. No, we'll get to that. Don't worry. We're going to get there. What about this? So I want Candace to just answer me this one question. If the army plane was so low that it was supposed to be noticeable to everybody else when Charlie Kirk got shot, how did anybody hear the gun go off? And how did we hear on video the kid ask the question to Charlie and Charlie respond back? And you could literally hear Charlie put down the microphone when he said, oh, the trans community, and he put down the microphone, goes back to pick it up, and got shot in the neck. That is exactly how it happened. Verbatim. It's seared into my brain. How did we hear all of that? How did anybody there hear all of that? If this plane was flying so fucking low. Then there was this other plane that was from Texas to fucking Vegas or Utah or some shit. I don't even remember. It was ridiculous. And it went and flew back. And that's it. It was a private plane. It just flew and flew back. That was it. Now it's the Egyptian plane, and everybody should have noticed the Egyptian plane when she says, which I played for you, that plane landed in Delaware. At least that's what she was talking about in one video. Now I guess in this one she's saying it landed in Utah. You can't even keep up with the fucking lies. Like, it's crazy. Like, she's just making shit up as she goes. Because the one plane video I showed you, that was Delaware. Now this one is supposed to be in Utah, or is this Delaware? I don't even know anymore. I'm so confused.
Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie, and I am telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now,
could it be that the reason the plane was tracking Erica was due to the fact that her dad's position and has business in that part of the world? Could that be the case, Candace? Did you consider her dad's career choice? Maybe there was some security detail that followed her, paid for by whoever. Did you ever consider that? I didn't.
No, because she's a fucking idiot. She is a fucking idiot. And it makes me so angry. So angry. And this is the last video I'm going to show. This is going to be of the security guard again talking. I know I didn't show as many of his videos as I wanted to, but I didn't want this episode to go on forever. I could just make a part 2 for tomorrow, but I mean, it's out there and the main things have been said. The sum ups of that interview I've put on here already. The main parts that make sense.
I think that's your job? Like, am I crazy? Or is that his job? First up, many of you guys pinged me regarding Brian Harpole, an interview that he did with Sean Ryan.
Now,
Brian Harpole
not Sean
is one of
Parker,
Charlie
Sean
Kirk's
Ryan. Excuse me,
long-term
my
security,
bad.
Team members. On the day of the assassination, you'll recognize he's the guy that had the black strap. I don't know if we have a photo. He had a bag across him, and he was standing to the front right of Charlie, kind of looking out at the audience. You're going to see him in a second. He is the one who then runs over to Charlie, and again, you recognize him because he kind of has that small, supposed to be a medical bag over him.
It is a medical bag,
I
you
have not
fucking
watched
idiot.
this interview in its entirety, but from what I have seen thus far, it is just not that convincing. For one, Brian offers up.
Again, she doesn't do her full due diligence before posting this video. She doesn't watch the whole thing, just like she didn't read the indictment. Whenever that side comes out with some kind of truth, she doesn't do her due diligence enough. She just doesn't care. It is what it is. I didn't really listen to it. They're wrong. I'm right. All the she gets real into detail with her shit, but she never listens to the full story from anybody else and takes that in and goes, maybe I was wrong. Like she talks about the medical bag. She's the one who said nobody did first aid on Charlie. You heard that on this podcast. She said it on this podcast that nobody was doing first aid to Charlie. But now this security guard was wearing a black bag, like a first aid bag. Well, why would he be wearing that if he didn't do first aid, Candace? So did he do first aid, and did he use the bag that he was wearing? because I can't imagine somebody wearing a first aid bag and not doing first aid when somebody's bleeding.
That the lack of security on the rooftop can actually be attributed to the UV police chief, Jeff Long. Here is what he had to say.
On Monday before, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, you want access to the roof, and came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible. He comes back, and his last correspondence was, I got you covered. What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, I've got this area.
Jeez.
She's raising her hand right now.
Please, pick me. Okay. You know when you're like in school and you got to hold your hand up because you really want a teacher to see you? I have an answer for us. You could have followed up because it's your job and Charlie paid you millions of dollars not to pass the buck. No. Also, you asked the police chief an either or question, and I'm just kind of like trying to understand the basic construct of sentence.
Okay, now I'm gonna chime in. Candace, you're a fucking asshole. When he asked the police chief, or told the police chief, this and this and this, and, check the roof, and, maybe send a drone, or send some security to check the rooftops, whatever. When the police chief says, I got you covered, anybody would have interpreted that as, okay, they got this part down. They've checked this. They had somebody up there. Everything is good. All right. I'm good on that. Like this, Charlie Kirk was not the fucking president. So the Secret Service would give two fucks about the police chief. They would have did it anyway. And you know what? Maybe in this instance, she might have a point. Maybe they should have said, hey, just double check it with you. Did you check that area? Yes, that could have been done. Did they maybe fumble the ball in that aspect? Yes, but you could say everybody did. Like the kids with the fucking cameras who saw somebody up there that never told anybody that there was somebody that shouldn't have been on the roof. We could blame those three people that had their cameras out and didn't do anything and didn't say anything about anything. You can blame the security. You can blame the police officers that were there. The school. They had cameras all over the fucking school. How did they not notice this kid getting on the roof? The school didn't notice? The security guards that work for the school, the campus security, they didn't notice a fucking straggler on the roof? They didn't see this kid climb on the roof. The school didn't see it. The campus security didn't see it. The police officers didn't see it. The security teams didn't see it. And the security team has less of a reason to see it because they don't show up until Charlie's there. Maybe some of them are there an hour before to scout out the area, but they're looking at immediate threats. Like, okay, can we got to gate this off here. We got to make sure nobody can bust through and get to Charlie. We got to make sure that they can't throw shit at him. We got to make sure that, we have blockers on this side so they can't bust through the side and they're looking at immediate things. And there was 3,000 people there, literally. Maybe he could have followed up. Does that mean he's a piece of shit and deserves to get fired? No, because you can't blame them. The only person to blame is the person who shot the fucking gun and killed Charlie. That is who you should be blaming. His security team did the best they could do with what they had in front of them. They took the word of the police chief. It wasn't like they asked a beat cop, like they went to some random beat cop and was like, oh, did you check this? And da-da-da-da-da. And the beat cop's like, oh yeah, like with nobody that has authority to do anything. And then I would say, Candace, you're 100% right. What the fuck? Like, that's some bullshit ass security. Why would you ask a beat cop to do that? Like, what the fuck? No, he talked to the chief of police, the head of everyone there. And he said, got you covered. What does that statement mean? When I say got you covered, that means you're good. Like, everything is good. Don't worry about anything. I have it covered. Don't worry. I had someone look at that. It's covered. When you say that, what does that mean to you? You take that literally, or else nobody would ever say that. Why would you say got you covered if you don't really have me covered? Why don't you blame the police chief that fucking said that? Why aren't you blaming them? They should have been, this is their territory. They should have, well, what if Tyler Robinson didn't decide just to shoot Charlie Kirk? What if he decided to fucking do a mass shooting and pick off a bunch of the students that were there too? The cops had a duty not only to protect Charlie Kirk, but to protect all the students that were fucking there as well, and to protect their officers and the campus security and the fucking school. The office, that's the officer's job. That's what they're supposed to fucking do. Protect the school from a school shooter. And I mean, that's the only time that cops were already on the scene as a gun went off in a school. Usually shots go off at a school, the cops aren't even there. They get a call from somebody inside the school saying somebody's shooting, and it takes, 5 to 10 minutes for the cops to show up and the SWAT team, and there's already fucking 20 kids dead before the cops even get there. Cops were already there. They had a duty, just like you're throwing onto this guy and you're saying this guy had a duty to protect Charlie. Well, the cops had a duty to protect Charlie as well and protect the entire fucking school. And the security, campus security, had the duty to protect the school and the students. And the school had a duty to protect everybody. So everybody there had a job to protect somebody, and everybody failed on every single aspect. So you cannot hold this guy at fault and only hold him accountable for that situation. That is fucked up. That is fucked up to literally sit there and blame this one guy and go, it's your fault. You didn't ask questions. You didn't do your job. Charlie paid you $1 million and you suck at your job. You got Charlie killed. That's fucked up. You cannot blame him for that. He took the word of the police chief. Why would he think the police chief didn't do what he said? Why would he think that he wasn't a stand-up guy? He wasn't true to his word. If I ever talk to police officers, I'm taking whatever they say at face value. I don't automatically assume they're fucking lying. I mean, shit, even when there's times that they tell me I did something wrong and I know I didn't, I'm still looking at myself like, did I really do that? I don't remember not stopping at that stop sign. He says I didn't stop. I could have sworn I fucking hit the brake. Like, you're literally like doubting yourself. And sometimes the cops are assholes and you didn't do anything. They're just fucking with you because some cops are fucking dickheads. And I'm going to say this particular cop chief was a fucking dickhead. He shouldn't have said got you covered if he didn't. And if he didn't feel like doing the job or sending the officers to scout the fucking roof, he should have told the security team, I'm not doing that. You guys can do that. You guys can go look. We're not, that's beyond my realm of possibility. I'm not doing that. So if you guys want to go check out the roof and scout out the roof and drone it or whatever, that's up to you. You can totally do that. I'm secure that there's nobody up there, but if that makes you feel better, go ahead and do it. Why didn't he do that? But she doesn't say that. She defends the cop, but blames Charlie's security.
He said, got you covered. What does that mean? It was an either, oh my gosh, thank you, can either provide us access or get somebody up there. Got you covered means what? No follow-up? That's it? Millions and millions of dollars on his security annually. And you just said, hey, a student told us that there's a rooftop and it would be good if we could have access to it, or if one of your guys could secure it. Got you covered. That's it. That's what Charlie was paying for? That's obviously absurd. That is not an answer that should be accepted by anyone. I am not blown away by that. I'm not going, oh, this is UVU's fault. Okay.
Why not? And why not? Why not, Candace? Why? Why? That's where she's. Do you see how she's full of shit? Because now there's actual people she can hold accountable, and the only people she wants to hold the fire to are the people that surrounded themselves with Charlie. So she wants to blame Charlie security. She wants to blame Erica. She wants to blame the government. She wants to blame Israel. She wants to blame the Jewish donors. She wants to blame Tyler Robinson. She wants to blame everybody. Actually, she doesn't want to blame Tyler Robinson. She just thinks that Tyler Robinson was pushed to do that or something. Like they plucked him from obscurity and was like, oh, yeah, we pick you. You're the best person we could get to shoot Charlie Kirk. A guy that can't even fucking put a bullet in the head, had to take a fucking lucky shot in the neck. Because if Charlie would have moved an inch over, that bullet would have fucking missed him. And we'd be having a different conversation right now. I probably wouldn't even have had a podcast right now because I wouldn't have thought to do it. I wouldn't have the balls to do it. So fuck that. You want to blame all these you want to blame everybody that's close to him, but you don't blame. Well, if you're going to blame everybody close to him, blame everybody. Don't just pick certain people to blame. Like, I blame the security, but I don't blame the cop who said he had it covered and he didn't do his job. He said I had it covered. And why did you say that if you didn't have it covered? That makes no sense. But you think this is a gotcha moment. It's not. The police had a duty to not only protect Charlie, like I said, but had a duty to protect that entire fucking school. And if that kid decided to blow the heads off of fucking students, and those cops could have checked that area, and Charlie's team told them to check that area, and they said, oh, we had it covered, and they never went and did it, that would be a big fucking deal. A huge deal. And a lot of people would be putting that fucking police department under scrutiny if they fucking do that.
Very extensive military career. Obviously have been very clear that I believe that this was a military level assassination. Everyone on the ground that day, every witness for some reason, this is not a military academy, but everybody that we can speak to that's somehow involved has an extensive military background. I'm not interested in Jeff Long's participation in this, but Brian Harpole sort of laments the fact that he won't speak up and people are losing their jobs. On the basis of that answer, you should all be fired.
But the cop that said he had it covered, the chief of police that told him that they checked that area, which means got you covered means we did what you asked us to do. Gotcha. That's what got you covered. Do you know what got you covered means, Candace? That means we got your back. That means we did it or we're going to do it. And they didn't do it. So it is their fault, period. Now, should the security team have double checked? Yeah, wouldn't have been a bad idea, but it's not their fault. It was a fucking mistake. It was an error. It was a lapse in judgment. It was a fucking error on their part. It was not their fault. It was a lapse of judgment. Mistake. We will never do that again. We will never take the fucking police's word that they've checked something and we don't check it. We'll never do that again because look at what happened.
You didn't have it within you to go, let me follow up and make sure that's been secured because that's my job. Let me walk the path and see. The fact that a student told you and you didn't know that, shouldn't you have told the student? Shouldn't you have said to the student, hey, we're looking at a map because...
Oh, you're talking about he's taking information from a student? You just went on your podcast and told you people on your podcast that a pregnant woman did a 15-hour deep dive on an Egyptian plane that was following Erica Kirk. And that's your informant. That's your CIA people. And she's not really, and don't take that literally. She meant like, oh, my viewers are like the CIA. That's what she was saying. Not that this person's a CIA person. So don't take that what I just said and twist it. She got this Egyptian plane information from a fucking viewer, nobody who knows nothing about nothing, has no investigative background at all whatsoever. And she literally put that out on her podcast about an Egyptian fucking plane having to do something with following Erica Kirk, which what the fuck does that have to do with Charlie dying? She never explained, and I played the whole thing for you. She never explained it. And that's what she does. She puts out these theories and she doesn't fully explain them. She just goes, this happened. Well, isn't that weird? My God. A plane flew by, guys, right at the time of Charlie's death. Oh my God. My God. There was no exit wound, so he wasn't shot with a 30-06. It was a smaller gun, but we don't know what kind of gun she's even talking about. We don't know what kind of bullet she's talking about. Nobody seen the autopsy besides Erica Kirk and the investigators and the prosecutors. So she's talking like she's seen the autopsy report and she didn't. The doctors explained that the bullet fragmented in Charlie's body. That's why there was no exit wound. And oh, that's not possible. But Martin Luther King, I proved to you that that was a true story. You can look that up yourself. He was shot with the same gun Charlie was shot with, and it did the exact same thing it did to Martin Luther King as it did to Charlie. It is not a miracle. It happened.
You see where Charlie's gonna sit. And we're wondering about this roof. Could you let us know how we're supposed to access that? Why is the student and the chief leading the charge and not you when you are paid for executive level security? It is an unacceptable answer. Look, I've worked with Brian, nice guy. That's a ridiculous answer. He should be fired. And I'm going to guess he's not going to be, but he should be fired. Of course, he should be fired.
Yeah,
Elsewhere
she
in the
keeps getting
interview,
people fired.
He responds to a question of why they didn't at least have drone coverage on that day, since they have flown drones, many drones, at TPUSA events in the past. Here's his answer to that.
In your coordination with UVU, I mean, did they offer any assistance, anything at all? Yeah. Did you ask them of anything? Absolutely. So we come in and we start looking at things immediately. Like, where are our risks? You know, what's a risk assessment when we come in? That's why we get there. That's why we start doing the advance so early. We walk it, we build it ourselves. And so initially, I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got the guy's license. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it. That's a we can't break the rules. And then you had secondary restrictions, probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school. But I can't go in and break the rules. There's laws for a reason. And so now the school could have flown drones, the PD, but they didn't have them, right? But Orem PD has a drone unit, active and professional, and that police department, I will tell you right now, is awesome. They get it. They were there. They helped both on the soft side and the hard side. And so I started asking questions. You guys have a drone unit? Yeah. Good. Do you have an MOU or a mutual aid agreement with the school? And they're like, yeah. I said, did they call you and ask for assistance? I'm like, why wouldn't you call?
I think that's your job. Like, am I crazy?
Yeah,
Or is
you
that his
are.
job? Is it his job to call and to see things through?
You are crazy
Really,
because
Charlie's paid?
he's not the only one. Charlie was not the only one that they needed to be worried about that day at that school. There was 3,000 other people there. There was 3,000 young kids and adults and teenagers and all walks of life there. So just Charlie's security team should not have been worried about everybody's safety at the fucking event. Like, yeah, they should have just been worried about Charlie because that's who they're paid to be worried about. But for all of these extra areas that were open, the school security and the police that were there should have made sure that the school was fucking safe. Period. Charlie's fucking security team can only do so much. Like, what the fuck? There was, according to what he's saying, there was 2 different fucking police departments at the fucking school. There was one police department that had the drones, which he said they didn't fly them. And then there was the police department that he talked to that said, oh, got you covered. And then you had campus security. And then you had Charlie's team. So the school had way more people and way more power to do a bigger investigation than Charlie's security team. Charlie's security team doesn't know all the ins and outs of the school, like the campus security, like the police do that are from that area that work that school all the time. Like they're not thinking, and not for nothing. Who the fuck was thinking that there was going to be a sniper on the roof that was going to kill Charlie Kirk? Nobody thought that was a possibility. Nobody thought that would happen. Yeah, should they have been prepared for it? Absolutely, because anything can happen. But nobody deep down in their soul thought something like that would happen. So everybody kind of just chilled out. How many of these campus fucking schools has Charlie been to? And without incident. If Charlie's fucking security team was so fucking stupid and useless, Charlie would have been dead a long time ago. Why wait so long to take him out? You know what I mean? Why wait? Somebody could have took him out at any point. If he had such a crack ass fucking security team, it would have been simple to get to Charlie Kirk. You wouldn't have to have been 200 yards away to shoot him. You could have walked right up to him point blank and fucking blew his fucking head off. So his security team was good for something because they kept him alive all this fucking time. So what are you talking about, Candace? Why are you only blaming them? Everybody is at fault. Yes, should his security team double checked? Yes, I will admit that. But the police were the main people that should have cared about not just Charlie, but everybody's well-being. Because a lot of people could have got hurt that day. If that kid was crazier than just his target on Charlie and was taking out students, that would have been the cops' fucking fault. And we'd be blaming them. So we should be blaming them anyway, because they should have been protecting everybody, including Charlie. They should have been searching everywhere. And if 3 randos with cell phones saw this motherfucker on a roof and noticed this motherfucker on the roof, you're telling me campus security and no administration or staff saw this guy get on the roof? And 2 different police departments didn't see this guy on the roof? Seriously? And Charlie's security team didn't see it? Not that they could have, because they were 200 yards away. But you had police in the fucking crowd. You had students walking around. One student was in the school. One student was like in the way back. One student was in the middle filming. They were all filming. Hold them responsible too, because they should have been shouting from the fucking rooftops, yo, somebody's on the roof. Get the fuck out of here, Candace, with your bullshit. I'm done. I'm so done with her. Like, I'm done. And then she admits she doesn't even listen to the whole fucking interview. Listen to the whole fucking interview before you go pointing your fucking fingers. That guy had his fucking fingers in Charlie's fucking neck. He was closer to Charlie than you would ever be, bitch. Your fucking thumbs weren't plugging up his fucking arteries. Who the fuck are you to say he should be fired? He's probably the reason Charlie still had a pulse when he got to the fucking hospital. He was the first person on top of Charlie when the fucking bullet struck him. It didn't even take him 0.25 seconds. He was there. Boom, done. And then they were worried about their safety. Is he done? Is he going to shoot some more? Does he not know he fully killed Charlie? Is he going to ring out more shots? They were all fucking in danger. You don't think they thought about their lives too? And their children and their families when that bullet rang out? And they dove, putting themselves last to save Charlie? You don't give them credit for that? This was a fucking slip up by everybody. But you seem to like to blame everybody that Charlie loved. Charlie would not want that. Charlie would be so fucking disappointed in you and disgusted by you. No wonder why Charlie fired your ass and stopped talking to you, because he knew you were fucking crazy. And now I think you use this as your way of getting back at everybody at TPUSA for you getting fired. Now you can talk shit about everybody there because now Charlie's not here to defend them. Charlie's not here to go, Candace, shut your fucking mouth and you don't know what you're talking about, because you wouldn't dare say any of this shit if Charlie was alive. No, he's dead. Now you are wreaking havoc on everything Charlie cared about, including his wife, trying to somehow insinuate she was involved. And if you're not insinuating that, you're insinuating that somebody was following her and somehow got to Charlie because of her. And then you go, oh, I didn't say anything about her. You insinuate it. You acting like everybody around Charlie had him killed is insinuating Erica was involved, because there's no way all of these people that you claim are involved in Charlie's death did this and Erica didn't have a fucking clue. That girl is not stupid. So knock your shit off. You're a dumb bitch. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of it. I'm pissed off and I'm tired of it. This is the longest episode I've ever done. And I hope a bunch of people fucking watch it and put it out there so she looks stupid and sees a normal person say some shit about her. Maybe it would wake her the fuck up. And she go, oh, wow, is that what everybody thinks of me? But honestly, I don't think she cares, because she's making money saying what she's saying. And she's getting views because people are like, ooh, what's she going to say today? Even I give her fucking clicks, because how would I know that she's saying this stuff if I'm not watching her fucking show? And I don't actually watch her show. I see clips of it on TikTok. And then I save the clips that I see that I'm going to put on my TikTok. So I do not provide clicks to her show. I will not watch her show, but I watch enough to get context. I don't just take a brief minute and go, oh, she said this. No, I listen to her entirety of that segment. I listen to the whole segment, then I shut her off because I don't want to hear anymore after that. Like, I don't even play you guys. I didn't even play you guys the full thing of that because it just makes me so mad. But I summed up what she's saying, and that's good enough. I played you enough because I don't even want you to hear it because it's complete and total bullshit. It's insane is what it is. She's trying to get people fired. They have families that they're trying to take care of and everything. And you want them fired for what? Trusting the police? God forbid the police say something that they didn't follow through with. Oh, let's fire the security because they believe the cops. That sounds ridiculous. I would have did the same thing and said, okay, he said we're good. I also wouldn't be assuming that somebody was going to kill him that day. Now, it would have been different if Charlie got like a threat right before going on and somebody's like, I'm going to snuff you out in Utah. And then security didn't fully, then that would be different. This would be, and then I would say, you fucked up, security, because you knew there was a chance something could happen and you didn't double check, like, what the fuck. But nobody knew that was gonna happen, and they trusted the cops. If the cops say it's good, it's good. Whatever, bro. So that is my episode for the day. I do not have music for you. I just didn't think any music would be right for this episode because it's a sad episode to even be talking about Charlie, but I knew I had to do it eventually. I mean, I know I talked about his hitman and I talked about Candace a little bit, but this show was more or less talking about, his autopsy and the bullet and the neck blood and, his security and all that stuff. And I thought music wasn't right. So I mean, I could have found a good Charlie Kirk song, like Tom McDonald did the Dear Charlie song. I was going to play that, but I was just like, you know what? Let me just go in with a Bible verse. I think that's better. And that Bible verse says it all. Now you know why that was a weird page for me to just randomly open. I didn't even have the page saved or nothing. I just opened my Bible and that verse was the first thing I saw. And I was like, holy shit, that is perfect for tonight's episode. So for Charlie, just the Bible and the verse. And, I will continue to talk about this as far as Candace goes, because I'm sure you know, in 2 weeks, this will die down and then she'll be back to saying the next stupid ass thing again. And I will be back with a new episode talking about the new thing. Maybe, next time it'll be a fucking truck that drove by the campus when Charlie died. Instead of an airplane, it'll be a truck, an armored truck or some shit. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. So have a good night, everybody. And I will see you on the next episode.